Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel Tiny Learn Hub and welcome back to our SQL interview series. In our today's episode, we are going to see what is the difference between the lag and lead. So basically, imagine you are looking at a employee salary table and your interviewer asks you, can you show me each employee's salary and the salary of the employee immediately before them. So you could try a sale join, but there's much cleaner solution for this one. I am not saying that sale join is not going to work, but there is some clean approach, then there is some modern approach for this one. So meet the lag, and what if you want to look for the next row, so it is lead. So there are extremely useful SQL window function for comparing rows. In today's episode we will understand lag versus lead and when to use them and how partition by changes the result, and we will finish with an interview challenge. So let's get started. So in our today's episode we have our employee salary table with us, and we have created this table, and here is the data records we have inserted in here. So our employee table kind of look like this, employee salary table kind of look like this. So in here now, as you see here, our employee salary data, we have the IT, HR, and finance, three departments, and each employee has salary. Now, suppose we want to compare one employee's salary with another employee's salary. So that's where lag and lead become useful. Now in here I want to execute one query. So this is our basic query. Okay, so in here let's start with the lag. So lag allows us to look at a value for a previous row without performing a self join, and here we are saying look at salaries within each department, sort them by salaries and give me the salary from the previous row. Now notice the first employee in each department has no previous employee, so SQL returns null, and that's because there is a simple simply isn't a previous row. So that is the explanation. Now if I want to execute the query, it's kind of give me the solution like this way. So it will execute the solution like this way, and see there is a null value. Now next go to the another query. So in here we are using the basic concept of lead. So now let's go to the opposite direction. Lead looks at the next row. So while lag looks backward, lead looks forward. For the last employee in each department, there is no next employee. So SQL returns null. Now, if I execute the query, it will kind of look like this. Now, what is the difference between the lag and lead? Okay, let me show you the big picture. So in here, see this one. So if you want to remember this lag and lead difference in your head, and you don't need to think about the much bigger picture of it. You want a cheat sheet for your interview. So this is a thing you can remember. So lag looks at the previous row, lead looks at the next row. So remember this thing first. Okay, now only this thing is the main important for lag and lead. Okay, now where is the partition by matters? Okay, we are using one partition by in here, as you see as line number 45. So there is something very important here. We are using partition by department, and that means like SQL creates a separate sequence for every department. So an HR employee won't be compared with an IT employee. Each department starts its own sequence and remove partition by, and SQL treat the entire result as one sequence. So this is a very common interview follow-up question. Okay. Now, if you want to calculate the difference, so before going to that one, let's use a lag and lead together in one query. See the next year and the previous year salary in a singular table. Okay, so for this one I wrote this query. Okay, this is the one. Now if I execute this query, it's kind of give me like this way. Okay, if my table don't have the previous salary record, it simply give me as a null value. As you see here, I get a null value. Now let me show you something like calculate the difference. Okay, like difference means, now if I want to show you like what is the difference between the current salary and the previous year's salary. Okay, so for this one we need to write this query and execute this query to see the difference. Now we can do something more interesting, like we don't want the previous salary, we want to know how much higher and lower to the current salary is. So we subtract and current salary minus previous salary, we do this thing. So this gives us the salary difference, and this pattern is extremely useful in real world reporting. Okay, so let me execute this one. Yeah, as you see, this is the difference. Now in here, suppose I want to execute my salary like this way. So if I see like what is lag do? Lag basically do the give me the previous salary or previous order or previous price, transaction, date, code. So it gives me the previous thing. Okay, the lag thing, and the lead gives us the next salary, next order, next price, transaction, date, and score. This is the thing. Now if you want to find out like this way, like which employee earns the more, okay, for using that one, then you need to use the lag. So if you use this one, now you see which employee earns the more, okay, during the previous year. Now if I want to show you like what is the previous first row in each department does not have a previous row, right? Now we can provide a default value instead of null. Okay, I don't want to see as a this null value, I don't want this, I want to replace it with something else. For this one I execute this query. If I want to execute this one, as you see here is the result. So it replaces the null value with 0, so it will be more friendly table for us. So null value is not a isolated thing. So if I replace it with 0, see, it will be easy for me to see the results, like it is 0. So you don't need to calculate that one, or you don't need to consider that one, that value. Now if I want to compare with the next employee, okay, if I want to compare my salary with my previous employee or my next employee, so I have to write this query, and I need to use the lead for the next employee. I don't need to use, see all kind of differences. Like if I want to execute the salary, now see, Grace, I need to compare it to the next salary and the difference between the next salary. I see the next salary. Okay. For this one, if I want to use any kind of lag, maybe it will execute, but it will not give me the proper result for what are we expecting right now. So lead gives us a more thing, more valuable result, more difference, more particular result what we are asking for it. So this is the thing. Now if I want to go like without partition by, okay, if I want to use the lag without partition by, because we are already using lag using partition by, but I don't want to use it. So if I don't want to use it, I need to write my query like this way. So it will be easy for me to understand, like if interviewer asks you with partition by or without partition by during the time of interview. Okay, so remember this one. Now if I want to use the partition by, department creates a separate sequence for us, like for the each department. So I want to use it, lag as a partition by, okay, without partition by and with partition by, this is the one. So this is how we execute the query. So this is our lag and lead difference. Okay, so this is all the queries you need to remember for you. Now for today's episode we have something for you. So that thing is like in a real world use case, you need to remember that lag and lead difference. Like I show you in the bigger picture, you need to remember this thing only for your all kind of labels. It doesn't mean you have to have that employee table, order, or any kind of other table. It's applicable for each and every particular table. So lead and lag, these aren't just an interview function, they are used in real analytics. For example, compare today's sales with yesterday's sale, compare the current product price with the previous price, find the previous order made by a customer, compare a employee's current salary with their previous salary, or find the next event in customer's journey. So whenever you hear a previous or next, think about this lag and lead. Okay, now if you want to use any kind of lad or league in a different value as I show you, so you need to use it like this way for our last query. So what we have executed, okay, it is a default. Now lag can accept the arguments, the expression, and how many rows to go back to, okay, and a default value as well. So lag salary 10, if I want like this way, if I use it like this way, like lag salary 1, 0, if I use it like this way, so it means that look one row backward, and if there isn't a previous row, return 0 instead of null. And this is this can be the useful when you want to like a default value for the first row, so you need to mention that one. Okay, now there is some interview question for you. Yeah, now ignore this one. Now go to the interview challenges, okay, for today's episode. So here is today's challenge for you guys. What is the difference between the lag and lead? And here is a bonus challenge, like how you find the employee whose salary is higher than the previous employee's salary in the same department. Pause the video and try solving it yourself. The solution will be in the pinned comment. Now, in the final recap, I wanted to show you something like this way. Like if I want to go it like this, that lag, it directly go to the previous row, right? Previous row. Lead to the next row. And if I want to use the partition by, it's basically go to the group by or the separate groups, or if I may separate groups, and now if I want to go it like this way, like order by, so it defines the order sequence. Order by, it go to the order sequence. So remember this thing, okay? So what it actually means, lag looks for the previous row, lead looks for the next row. Partition by creates separate group, order by determines the sequence of rows. And remember, lag backward, lead forward. Remember this one. Now, if you find this video useful, like the video and subscribe to my SQL Interview Lab series. And don't forget to solve today's interview challenge before checking the pin comment. In the next episode, we will continue building our SQL interview skills with another practical problem. Till then, bye.